The new series has arrived and name is What If Naruto was stepson of Mikoto Uchiha? So let's start the series. 12 years ago. The night was unnaturally quiet. Deep within the forest outside the hidden leaf village, a cold wind swept through the trees, making the branches creak and sway beneath the pale glow of the moon. For a moment, everything seemed peaceful. Then came the roar. A monstrous, earth-shaking roar tore through the night. Birds scattered from the treetops. The ground trembled beneath their feet. Far beyond the forest, the sky above Konoha burned crimson. The nine-tailed fox had descended upon the village. Its enormous silhouette towered over the rooftops, 9 massive tails whipping through the air as shinobi desperately fought to contain the beast. Explosions illuminated the darkness one after another, while screams of pain and terror echoed through the streets. Konoha was no longer a peaceful village. It had become a battlefield. Keep moving. A chunin hurried through the forest, one arm tightly gripping the wrist of a young boy. The boy struggled with all his strength. Let me go. He twisted desperately in the chunin's grasp, tears streaming down his cheeks. I said let me go. Stop fighting me, the chunin shouted. I'm taking you somewhere safe. I don't want to be safe. The boy's voice cracked. My mom and dad are still there. The boy was Iruka Umino. He couldn't have been more than a child, but the terror in his eyes was unmistakable. His parents were still somewhere inside the village, fighting alongside the other shinobi. And Iruka refused to leave them behind. We have to get you to one of the shelters beneath the Hokage monument, the chunin said, pulling him forward. You're not strong enough to fight the Kyuubi. Your parents know what they're doing. They'll meet you there. You're lying. Iruka planted his feet against the ground, desperately trying to stop himself. They're my parents. I can't just leave them. The chunin's expression tightened. He wanted to tell the boy everything would be fine. But even he didn't know if that was true. Another deafening explosion erupted from the village. The forest shook. Iruka looked back. His breath caught in his throat. Through the trees, he could see Konoha burning. Buildings that had once stood proudly were collapsing into piles of rubble. Flames consumed rooftops while thick black smoke rose into the night sky. Shinobi rushed through the streets, some carrying wounded comrades while others charged fearlessly toward the gigantic fox. Then Iruka heard another scream. And another. The sounds seemed to come from everywhere. People were crying for their families. Shinobi were shouting orders. Children were screaming for their parents. The entire village was drowning in chaos. A sudden crash came from nearby. A broken tree branch, thrown through the air by the force of an explosion, slammed into the ground only a few feet away. Blood stained the wood. Iruka froze. Mom! His voice was barely a whisper. Mom! Dad! The chunin pulled him forward again. We have to go. No! Iruka fought harder than ever. Mom! Dad! His cries disappeared beneath another thunderous roar from the nine-tails. For one final moment, Iruka stared back at the village. The home he knew was burning. His parents were still somewhere in that nightmare. And despite all his fear, all he wanted was to run back to them. But the chunin refused to let go. I'm sorry, he whispered. Then he dragged Iruka deeper into the forest, toward the safety of the Hokage monument. Behind them, the Ninetales roared once again. The sound echoed across the night. And for the young Iruka Umino, that night would become a memory he would carry for the rest of his life. Chapter 1: Two Brothers and a Fox. On a hill overlooking the burning village, the fourth Hokage stood with his wife against the chaos below. Minato Namake's hands trembled as he pressed them against Kushina's stomach. The seal was already forming brilliant orange light spiraling outward from his palms as he worked to contain the beast that had been ripped from her body. Sweat poured down his face. His breathing came in ragged gasps. Minato. Kushina's voice was barely a whisper. Save them. She meant the twins. The two newborn boys lying in a bassinet nearby, wrapped in soft white cloth, completely unaware that their mother was dying. Minato looked at his sons. One had hair like spun gold, already sticking up in wild tufts. The other had dark hair that fell softly across his forehead. They were identical in every other way, same round cheeks, same tiny fists, same peaceful expressions. They didn't know the world was ending around them. I will, Minato promised. His voice broke. I'll save them both. The Ninetales roared again. The sound shook the earth. Minato could feel its chakra surging against the seal, desperate to break free. He didn't have much time. His mind raced through possibilities. He could seal the beast into one child. That was the traditional method. One container for one monster. But the burden would be enormous. The child would grow up isolated, feared, hated by a village that couldn't see past the monster inside him. Minato looked at his twin sons again. Then an idea formed. A terrible, desperate, impossible idea. If the beast was too powerful for one vessel, what if he split it? What if he gave each son half the burden? The concept was madness. No one had ever attempted such a seal. The risk of failure was catastrophic. If the seal broke, both children would die instantly. But if he succeeded? If I do this, Minato whispered, they'll never be alone. He glanced at Kushina. She was fading, her life force ebbing away with each passing second. But a small smile crossed her lips. They'll have each other, she breathed. That's all that matters. Minato nodded. He turned back to the twins, his hands already moving through the hand seals. Forgive me, he said. Then he pressed his palms against their tiny chests. The chakra erupted from him in twin streams of orange and black, swirling like serpents as they burrowed into the infants' bodies. The Ninetales screamed somewhere in the distance, sensing its power being torn in two. But Minato held firm. Half the beast went into the golden-haired boy. Half went into the dark-haired boy. The seal completed with a blinding flash. The Ninetales vanished from the village below. And Minato Namake's collapsed beside his dying wife, his arms wrapped around his two sons, his life already fading from the effort. 12 years later. Naruto Uchiha sat cross-legged on the edge of the Naka River, watching the water rush past. His dark eyes, already showing the faintest hint of red around the pupils, stared at his reflection. The face that looked back at him wasn't quite right. Sometimes when he looked too long, he saw amber eyes. Glowing amber eyes that belonged to someone else. You're brooding again. The voice came from inside his head, feminine and ancient and dripping with amusement. It's very tedious when you brood. Do you know how boring it is to share a mind with someone who broods constantly? Naruto scowled. I'm not brooding. You're sitting by a river. Alone. Staring at your own reflection. That's literally the definition of brooding. I'm thinking. About what? The village. What about the village? Naruto picked up a smooth stone and skipped it across the water. 1, 2, 3. 4 skips before it sank. They still hate me, he said quietly. A pause inside his head. Then, more softly. They fear you. That's different. It feels the same. You have Sasuke. Naruto's expression softened. Yeah. I have Sasuke. Then why are you sitting alone? He's training with Shisui. Ah. The prodigy. Her voice carried a hint of sarcasm. Always training. Always pushing. He gets that from your mother's side. Minabe, Naruto said, rolling the name across his tongue. It had taken him years to even acknowledge her existence. When he was small, the voice inside his head had terrified him. He'd thought he was going mad. He'd screamed, cried, refused to eat, demanded that his parents make the monster leave. But the monster never left. And eventually, he'd realized that Minabe wasn't a monster at all. She was lonely. You're thinking about the day we started talking. Naruto grinned. You can read my mind. You always know what I'm thinking. True. But you also have a very expressive face. Sometimes I just enjoy watching you process. You're weird. I'm a nine-tailed fox trapped inside the body of a 12-year-old boy. I'm allowed to be weird. Naruto laughed. It was a genuine laugh, bright and warm, the kind of laugh that made people turn their heads when they heard it. Sasuke had once told him that his laugh was too loud, too careless. Naruto had told him to shut up and laughed even louder. The laughter faded slowly. Naruto looked down at his reflection again. When I look in the water, he said, I see someone who doesn't belong anywhere. That's because you're looking with human eyes. What else am I supposed to use? The eyes you inherited from your ancestors. You know the ones. Naruto's stomach tightened. The Sharingan. You're afraid of it. I'm not afraid. You are terrified. I can taste your fear. Naruto closed his eyes. He remembered the first time the Sharingan had awakened. He'd been 7 years old, sparring with Sasuke in the backyard. They'd been laughing, shoving each other, trying to land hits with wooden practice kunai. Then Sasuke had tripped. The kunai had slipped from his hand. Naruto had watched it spiral through the air, watched the edge coming toward his brother's face. And something had changed. The world had slowed down. He'd seen the pattern of the kunai's rotation. He'd mapped the trajectory in his mind. He'd moved without thinking, catching the weapon a hair's breadth from Sasuke's eye. When he'd looked back, Sasuke was staring at him with wide eyes. Naruto, Sasuke had whispered. Your eyes. Naruto had run to the river. He'd looked at his reflection. And he'd seen red. You saved him, Minabe had said quietly. You didn't hurt him. You saved him. But I could have hurt him, Naruto had whispered. You could have. But you didn't. Why did you do that to me? What do you mean? The Sharingan. I didn't ask for it. I don't want it. Manabe had been silent for a long moment. Naruto, the Sharingan isn't my doing. It's yours. It was inside you all along, waiting for the right moment to surface. I simply helped it along. Helped it along? Your genetics are remarkable. You're an Uzumaki on your father's side and an Uchiha on your mother's. That combination is rare. Powerful. I recognized the potential and gave it a gentle push. Naruto had stared at his reflection. I don't want power, he'd said. I just want to be normal. Nothing about you will ever be normal. That's not comforting. I wasn't trying to comfort you. I was stating a fact. He'd hated her that day. Hated the voice inside his head. Hated the eyes that marked him as something different. But then Sasuke had found him by the river. Sasuke had sat down beside him. No questions, no demands. Just quiet presence. After a long time, Sasuke had said, "Your eyes are cool." Naruto had blinked. What? They're cool. Strong. I wish I had eyes like yours. And that, Manabe had said, her voice softer than before, is why you should never hate yourself. Because there's someone who loves every part of you. Naruto blinked, returning to the present. I still don't understand why you pick me, he told Manabe. I'm not special. I'm just some kid with a lot of chakra and a head full of stupid dreams. You're not just some kid. Then what am I? She was quiet for a moment. Then. You're the person who will change the world. Not because you're strong. Not because you're clever. But because you care about people. Even when they don't deserve it. Even when they hate you for it. You care. Naruto felt his throat tighten. That's not a superpower, Manabe. No. It's better. It's a gift. I want you to show me something today. Naruto raised an eyebrow. What kind of something? The shadow clone technique. Manabe, that's a forbidden jutsu. I'm not allowed to learn it. The fourth Hokage used it constantly. My father used it constantly. Exactly. But I can't even climb a tree without falling on my face. Which is why I want you to learn shadow clones. It's a perfect technique for someone with your chakra reserves. You have more chakra than any child your age. Possibly more than any adult in the village. The shadow clone jutsu is designed for people like you. You're not going to let this go, are you? I'll be honest. I find the silence in your head whenever you're focusing on training to be very restful. I'm actually being selfish. I want you to practice so I don't have to hear you thinking about whether Sasuke is going to beat you to graduation. That's not. Okay, it's also because I want you to be strong. But mostly it's because I need quiet. Naruto laughed again. Fine, he said, standing up. Teach me. The first 2 weeks were humiliating. Naruto made 1,000 shadow clones. 1,000 shadow clones exploded into puffs of smoke. He tried again. More explosions. You're not focusing, Manabe said, her voice clipped. I'm trying. Your chakra is all wrong. You're trying to force the shape, and that doesn't work. The shadow clone is about intention. You have to want the clones to exist. You have to believe in them. I believe in them. No, you don't. You believe you'll fail. And you're right, because you're standing there assuming the technique won't work. Naruto collapsed onto the grass, panting. This is impossible. Nothing is impossible. Difficult, yes. Impossible, no. Easy for you to say. You're a giant fox with 1,000 years of experience. You're learning a technique that requires perfect control over your chakra. Most shinobi take months to master it. You've been at this for 2 weeks. Is that supposed to make me feel better? It's supposed to make you stop whining. But then, 2 weeks later, something changed. Naruto performed the hand seals. He focused. He believed. And when he said Shadow Clone Jutsu, a perfect copy of himself appeared beside him. Naruto stared at the clone. The clone stared back. Did it work? The clone asked. Manabe, Naruto whispered, his voice trembling. Did it work? Well, I suppose I owe you a congratulations. Naruto burst out laughing. The clone burst out laughing. And then, in a rush of pure joy, Naruto performed the jutsu again. 100 clones appeared around him. 200. 500. The field filled with Narutos. Look at this, they shouted in unison. Look at this. I'm looking. Her voice was amused. Now try this. Send them into the forest and have them learn different techniques. The shadow clone transfers memories when it dispels. You can use it to learn faster than anyone else. Naruto's eyes went wide. Wait. Are you telling me that I can train at 100 different things at once? And the experience transfers back to me? That's exactly what I'm telling you. Manabe, Naruto whispered. You just changed everything. I know. You're welcome. 3 months later, during a sparring session with Sasuke, something happened. Sasuke was faster than Naruto. He'd always been faster. More precise. More focused. Naruto could keep up with brute strength and raw chakra, but Sasuke moved like water, flowing around obstacles. Come on, Sasuke said, dodging another punch. You're not even trying. Naruto grinned. Oh, I'm trying. Then why can't you hit me? Naruto shrugged. Maybe you're just too fast. But inside his head, Manabe was whispering. Naruto. Your eyes. Naruto felt the change. The world slowed down. He could see Sasuke's movements before they happened. The tension in his muscles. The subtle shift of weight. The smallest details. Sasuke lunged. Naruto sidestepped. Sasuke's eyes widened. What the? Naruto grabbed his brother's arm, spun him around, and pinned him to the ground. Got you, Naruto said. But Sasuke wasn't looking at his face. Sasuke was looking at his eyes. The Sharingan, Sasuke whispered. You awakened it again. Naruto released him, stepping back. I didn't mean to. That doesn't matter. You have it. Naruto felt his stomach drop. Sasuke. I'm not angry, Sasuke interrupted. I'm impressed. He sat up, brushing dirt off his clothes. You're always surprising me, Naruto. Naruto didn't know what to say. But inside his head, Manabe was watching. He's right, she murmured. You are always surprising. That night, Naruto couldn't sleep. He lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to Sasuke's quiet breathing on the other side of the room. They shared a bedroom. They'd always shared a bedroom. "You're thinking about the Sharingan again," Manabe said. "It's not that. I'm thinking about the war." "What war?" "The one everyone talks about. The Third Great Ninja War. My father died in it. And the Uchiha, they lost so many people." "You're worried about the Uchiha." "I'm worried about Sasuke. About mother and father. About everyone." Manabe was quiet for a moment. "What do you know about the relationship between the Uchiha and Konoha?" Naruto frowned. "Not much. I know we're important. I know we're strong. I know some people don't like us, but I always thought that was just because we're powerful." "It's more complicated than that." "What do you mean?" "Naruto, there's something you need to understand. The Uchiha clan has always been feared. Feared and respected. But fear and respect are not the same as trust. And trust is what keeps villages safe." "You think the village doesn't trust us?" "I think the village is afraid of what the Uchiha might do. And I think the Uchiha are angry that the village doesn't trust them. It's a cycle. A dangerous one." "So what do we do?" "I don't know. But I feel something. Something old. Something dangerous." Naruto sat up in bed. "What do you mean?" "I didn't want to tell you this. Not yet. But I can feel it." "Feel what?" Manabe's voice dropped to barely a whisper. "Madara Uchiha. He's still alive. And he's watching." Naruto's blood ran cold. "Madara? The founder of the clan? The man who fought the first Hokage?" "The same. He should be dead. But he's not." "Why?" "Because he's found a way to prolong his life. And he has plans. Plans for the Uchiha. Plans for the world. And somehow, he's connected to the Nine Tails. I can feel his chakra. It's nearby. Watching. Waiting." Naruto's hands trembled. "Manabe. What do we do?" "We prepare. We train. We gather allies. And most importantly, we never stop believing in each other." "Are you scared?" "A little. But I'm also determined. Because I know one thing." "What?" "Madara hasn't met you yet. And I have a feeling he's going to be surprised." Naruto stared out the window at the dark village below. Somewhere out there, Madara was waiting. And Naruto had to be ready. Next. Chapter 2: The Night the Clan Died. The Uchiha compound had always felt like a fortress. Naruto had grown up within its walls, running through its narrow streets, playing hide-and-seek in its gardens, listening to the elders argue in the main hall about matters he didn't understand. It was home. It was safe. It was everything he knew. But lately, something had changed. The air had grown thick with tension. Conversations stopped when Naruto entered a room. Adults whispered in corners, their eyes darting nervously toward the village beyond the compound walls. "What's happening?" Naruto asked Sasuke one evening, watching their mother prepare dinner in the kitchen. Sasuke's expression was troubled. "I don't know. But father's been meeting with the clan elders every night. He won't tell me what they're discussing." Maybe they're planning something good. A festival. Or a celebration. Sasuke gave him a look. You really think that? Naruto's smile faded. No. I don't. Later that night, Naruto sat alone in his room, listening to Minabe. The tension is worse than I expected, she said. What do you think they're planning? I think they're preparing for war. Naruto's heart stopped. War? Against who? Against Konoha. That's crazy. Why would we fight the village? Because the village doesn't trust them. And the Uchiha have grown tired of being treated like outsiders. The council has been restricting their movements, monitoring their activities. Some elders think the Hokage is planning to destroy the clan completely. Minabe, that's insane. The Hokage wouldn't do that. Wouldn't he? She paused. Naruto, I've seen this before. Many times. When a group feels threatened, they become dangerous. And when they become dangerous, others feel threatened in return. It's a cycle that never ends well. So we have to stop it. We have to talk to someone. We have to. You can't. You're a child. They won't listen to you. Then what do? We watch. We wait. And we prepare to survive. Itachi Uchiha stood on the rooftop of the clan headquarters, staring at the village below. The lights of Konoha twinkled in the darkness like scattered stars. It was beautiful. It was home. And it was about to be destroyed. You can't stop thinking about it either, can you? Shirsue's voice came from behind him. The young Uchiha stepped onto the rooftop, his dark hair shifting in the night breeze. He'd always moved like a ghost, silent and barely visible. The coup is scheduled for next week, Itachi said quietly. After the council meeting. They're going to take the Hokage hostage. Demand reforms. Shirsue grimaced. I know. How did it come to this? Shirsue was quiet for a long moment. The village has always feared us. We're too powerful. Too secretive. The elders on both sides have been fueling this conflict for years. It was only a matter of time before something broke. Then we have to stop it. How? We tried talking to them. Both sides. No one will listen. Itachi turned to face his friend. I know. That's why we have to take more drastic measures. Shirsue's eyes widened. Itachi. Don't say what I think you're going to say. The massacre. It's the only way to end the cycle. You're talking about killing our own family. I'm talking about saving Konoha. If the coup happens, thousands will die. Children, women, civilians. The village will be weakened. Our enemies will attack. It will be a war that destroys everything. Shirsue shook his head. There has to be another way. I've looked for one. There isn't. They stood in silence, two young men trapped between their duty and their love. Can you do it? Shirsue asked finally. Can you kill them? Your parents? Your cousins? Your brothers? Itachi closed his eyes. I have to, he whispered. I have to. Inside Naruto's head, Minabe screamed. Something is wrong. Something terrible is about to happen. Naruto sat up in bed. What do you mean? I can feel death. A lot of it. It's coming from the compound. From everywhere. How do you know? Is it Madara? No. It's not Madara. It's something closer. Someone closer. Naruto scrambled to wake Sasuke. Sasuke! Wake up! Sasuke groaned. What? It's the middle of the... Then he stopped. Outside, the sound of screams pierced the night. The massacre unfolded with surgical precision. Itachi moved through the compound like a shadow, his blade cutting through the darkness with terrible efficiency. Each strike was precise. Each movement was calculated. He didn't hesitate. He couldn't afford to. Shisui worked beside him, his Sharingan blazing, his face a mask of forced calm. They killed the elders first. Then the warriors. Then the families. The compound filled with the sounds of slaughter. Screams. Cries for mercy. The wet thud of bodies hitting the ground. Itachi reached his parents' home. His father stood in the doorway, already knowing what was coming. So this is how it ends, Fugaku Uchiha said. By your hand. I'm sorry, father. Don't be. You're doing what needs to be done. That's what it means to be a leader. Mikoto appeared behind her husband. Her eyes were wet, but her voice was steady. Take care of your brothers, she said. Sasuke. Naruto. They're young. They need guidance. I will, Itachi promised. And then he struck. Naruto and Sasuke ran. They ran through the burning compound, through the smoke, through the bodies of people they'd known their entire lives. Naruto's hand gripped Sasuke's so tightly his knuckles went white. Sasuke was shaking. There's nowhere to go, Sasuke gasped. The exit is blocked. There's another way, Naruto said. Minabe's showing me. Through the garden, she directed. There's a tunnel under the old shrine. It leads outside the compound. They ran faster. Behind them, the sounds of the massacre continued. Naruto didn't look back. He couldn't. If he looked back, he'd fall apart. They reached the shrine. Naruto shoved aside the stone, revealing the entrance to the tunnel. Come on. They climbed down into darkness. It was cold and damp and terrifying. But they kept moving, crawling through the narrow passage until they emerged on the other side of the compound's walls. They were in a small forest clearing. The moon was full overhead. Sasuke collapsed to his knees. Naruto. I know. I know. My parents. My friends. Everyone. Sasuke began to cry. Naruto dropped beside him, pulling his brother into his arms. They're all dead, Sasuke sobbed. Everyone. We're alive, Naruto whispered. We're still alive. Minabe was quiet for a long time. I'm sorry, she finally said. I should have seen this coming. I should have warned you earlier. Would it have mattered? Naruto asked. Probably not. But I should have tried. How do we survive this? One day at a time. One moment at a time. And you have Sasuke. Remember that. As long as you have him, you have something to fight for. They were relocated to a small apartment on the edge of the village. Naruto stared out the window at the stars, trying to make sense of everything. Sasuke sat on his bed, staring at nothing. The others will be okay, Sasuke murmured. They might have made it. Maybe they survived. Naruto shook his head. Sasuke. I saw the bodies. So many of them. You don't know. Maybe they got out. Sasuke. Don't. Don't tell me they're gone. I can't hear that. Not yet. Naruto crossed the room and sat down beside his brother. We're all we have left, Sasuke whispered after a long silence. Just us. No one else. Naruto took a shaky breath. Then we'll stay together. Promise? Promise. They sat in the darkness, brothers bound by grief and love. And in Naruto's mind, Minabe watched silently, her amber eyes burning with ancient sadness. Strange, she thought. I've lived for 1,000 years. I've seen empires fall and civilizations crumble. But I've never seen anything as fragile or as strong as the love between two brothers. She withdrew into herself, letting Naruto and Sasuke have their moment of silence. Somewhere far away, she could feel the presence of Madara Uchiha, watching the destruction unfold. He's waiting, she realized. He's waiting for them to break. But they won't. They'll surprise him. She felt the faintest hint of a smile cross her ethereal lips. I'm going to enjoy watching the two of you grow. The days that followed blurred into weeks. Naruto and Sasuke threw themselves into training. Every morning, before the sun rose, they were in the forest, pushing each other harder and harder. They sparred until their bodies gave out. They studied techniques until their eyes burned. They refused to let themselves feel the grief. We have to get stronger, Sasuke said one night. Naruto nodded. We will. We have to protect each other. Always. It was during one of those training sessions that Naruto first attempted to access Minabe's chakra. Are you sure about this? She asked. I have to be. I need to understand what I'm carrying. Very well. But brace yourself. My chakra is intense. The power exploded through him. Naruto felt his body transform. His skin grew hotter. His eyes sharpened. His senses expanded beyond anything he'd ever experienced. He could hear the heartbeat of every creature in the forest. He could see the individual leaves on the trees, each vein visible in perfect clarity. He could feel the earth beneath his feet, the wind against his skin, the chakra flowing through his body like a river. Whoa, he breathed. Powerful, isn't it? Yeah. Really powerful. You can access this whenever you need it. But use it sparingly. It's not like normal chakra. It's ancient. Wild. If you lose control, it will consume you. I won't lose control. I hope not. Because if you do, I won't be able to save you. 4 years passed. The boys grew taller, stronger, more skilled. They became the top students in the academy, known for their fierce rivalry and inseparable bond. On graduation day, they stood together outside the academy gates. Can you believe it's finally happening? Naruto asked. Sasuke shrugged. It was inevitable. We were always going to graduate early. Show off. Takes one to know one. They shared a look, and for a moment, the grief receded. They were still broken. They would always be broken. But together, they could handle it. You ready? Naruto asked. As ready as I'll ever be. And they walked through the gates together. Chapter 3: The Third Wheel. Team 7's first meeting was awkward. Naruto arrived early, bouncing on his heels with barely contained excitement. He'd been waiting years for this moment. Kakashi arrived late, as predicted. "Sensei," Naruto whined, "you're impossible." "I'm fashionably late," Kakashi said, his eye crinkling in amusement. "Now. Introductions. Tell me about yourselves." Sakura Haruno stood stiffly, trying not to stare at the two boys she'd been assigned to work with. She'd seen them in the academy, of course. Everyone had. They were legends, the twins who'd survived the Uchiha massacre. But she'd never actually spoken to either of them. "I'm Sakura Haruno," she said. "I like books and flowers. I'm hoping to become a medical ninja. And I hate people who don't take things seriously." Naruto grinned. "Good. We're going to get along great." Kakashi turned to Sasuke. "And you?" "Sasuke Uchiha." His voice was quiet. Controlled. "I want to become an ANBU." "Why?" Sasuke didn't respond. Naruto filled the silence. "He wants to protect everyone. It's what he's always wanted." "Is that true?" Kakashi asked. Sasuke glanced at his brother. "Something like that." Kakashi nodded slowly. "Interesting. And you, Naruto?" "I'm going to become Hokage." The statement was blunt. Certain. Nothing like the way the other children said it. "Why?" "Because I want to make sure no one ever abandons children the way the Uchiha were abandoned. The village should protect its people, not push them away." Kakashi's expression was unreadable. That's a powerful motivation. It's the only motivation that matters. The first few weeks were difficult. Naruto and Sasuke moved through the world like two halves of a single whole. They knew each other's moves, each other's thoughts, each other's weaknesses. They didn't have to speak to communicate. It was beautiful, in a way. And absolutely alienating for Sakura. She stood on the edge of their world, watching them function together. "Maybe this was a mistake," she muttered one night, practicing alone in the training grounds. "I'm never going to catch up to them." But then Naruto appeared, grinning as always. "Hey. You're not going to improve by standing here feeling sorry for yourself." "I'm not feeling sorry for myself. I'm strategizing." "Right. Strategizing." He dropped down beside her. "Look. I know it's weird being stuck with two brothers who finish each other's sentences. But we're a team now. And teams need everyone working together." Sakura looked at him, studying his face. "You're genuinely trying to help me." "Of course. Why wouldn't I?" She didn't have an answer for that. It was Kakashi who forced the team to work as a unit. "You'll never survive the next mission if you keep fighting separately," he said. "Sakura, you're a brilliant strategist. Start using that brain of yours. Naruto, stop taking all the hits. Sasuke, trust your teammates to have your back." The training was brutal. But it worked. Slowly, Team 7 began to function as a cohesive unit. Sakura discovered an aptitude for chakra control that impressed even Naruto. Sasuke learned to rely on his teammates' observations. Naruto stopped charging into battle headfirst. Not bad, Kakashi said after their fifth successful mission. Not bad at all. Sakura smiled. And then, something started to change. It started with training sessions. Naruto and Sakura began sparring together more often. Not as competitors, but as partners. They corrected each other's forms, discussed techniques, learned from each other. I can't believe you can do that, Sakura said one day, watching Naruto create shadow clones. That's insane. I had help, Naruto admitted. A friend taught me. Can you teach me? He grinned. Sure. But it's going to hurt. Their training sessions stretched into meals. Stretching into evenings. Stretching into something that made Sakura's heart beat a little faster. She liked Naruto. Liked his energy, his commitment, the way he always believed things would work out. He was nothing like she'd imagined when they first met. He was kinder. More thoughtful. More genuine. This is good, she told him one night. Spending time together. Yeah. It's nice. She wanted to say something else. Something about the way he looked at her. The way he made her laugh. But she was afraid. So she stayed quiet, hoping he understood. Sasuke noticed. He couldn't help it. The two of them were always together now. Training together. Eating together. Laughing together. It shouldn't have bothered him. Naruto was allowed to have friends. They both were. But watching his brother smile at Sakura, laugh at her jokes, share secrets she'd never understand, it made something twist in Sasuke's chest. He tried to ignore it at first. The feeling would pass, he told himself. He was being irrational. Naruto wasn't going anywhere. But the feeling didn't pass. It grew. You're being quiet, Naruto said one day. What's wrong? Sasuke looked at his brother. Nothing. I'm fine. You're lying. I'm not lying. I'm just. He trailed off, searching for the right words. You've been spending a lot of time with Sakura. Training. It's important. I know. Naruto frowned. What's going on with you? Nothing. I'm fine. And then he walked away. Naruto stared after him. He's jealous, Minabe observed. Nonsense. Asterisk, he's jealous. Not of Sakura. Of you. He sees you building a life he's not part of, and he's afraid you'll replace him. He's my brother. I could never replace him. He doesn't know that. The confrontation happened after a mission. Naruto and Sakura had spent extra time working on their jutsu. Sasuke waited for them, leaning against a tree with his arms crossed. You're late, he said flatly. Sorry, Naruto said. We were working on something. I noticed. Sakura glanced between them. Maybe I should go. Don't, Sasuke said. Stay. This involves you. Naruto blinked. What involves me? You're always together now, Sasuke said. Every day. Every mission. You barely even look at me anymore. That's not true. It is true. You've changed, Naruto. You're building a life without me. And I'm not going to pretend it doesn't hurt. I'm not building a life without you. You're my brother. You're. It's not just about being brothers. Sasuke shouted. It's about everything. The massacre. The loss. All of it. I lost everyone, Naruto. Everyone I loved. And then I thought I had you. I thought you were the only person who would stay. But you're leaving too. You're building a whole life that doesn't include me. Naruto stared at him. Sasuke. You're my brother, Sasuke said, his voice cracking. You're all I have left. The words hung in the air. Sakura stood frozen, trying to process what she just heard. Naruto walked toward his brother. Sasuke. Look at me. Sasuke refused. Sasuke. Look at me. Slowly, Sasuke raised his eyes. Naruto reached out and took his brother's hand. I'm not leaving you. I could never leave you. You're my brother, and I love you. But I need other people too. And so do you. Sasuke blinked, his eyes suddenly wet. You don't hate me for what I said? I could never hate you, Sasuke. You're the only family I have left. Kakashi stepped out of the shadows. Good, he said quietly. You're talking. The three of them turned to stare at him. I'd been watching, Kakashi admitted. I knew this was going to happen eventually. The three of you have been holding on to separate griefs. Separate fears. Separate insecurities. But teams don't work unless you're honest with each other. We're being honest now, Naruto said. Yes. You are. Kakashi studied them. This team has more potential than any team I've ever led. But potential is nothing without trust. Do you trust each other? Yes, Naruto said without hesitation. Sakura nodded. Sasuke hesitated. Then, yes. Then you've already won the most important battle. Now let's go home. That night, Team 7 sat together on the rooftop of their building. The stars were bright overhead. I'm sorry, Sasuke finally said. I shouldn't have blamed you. Naruto shook his head. You had every right. I didn't. You're my brother. I should have trusted you. We'll get there, Naruto said. We'll get through this. Sakura smiled softly. You two are ridiculous. Coming from you, I'll take that as a compliment. They sat in silence for a few moments. And then, something extraordinary happened. Naruto reached out his hand toward his brother. Sasuke stared at it for a long moment. The same hand that had pulled him from the massacre. The same hand that had trained beside him for years. The same hand that held the promise of everything they'd survived together. Then he took it. Thank you, he whispered. Always, Naruto said. Together, they turned toward the village below. It wasn't a perfect ending. There were still years of pain ahead. Years of uncertainty. Years of learning to trust again. But it was a beginning. And for three broken young people, that was enough.